All right, welcome in Wednesday 49ers update before I head out to the Las Vegas Lake. It's a 45-minute drive out there. That is going to be for 49ers media availability. First part of the update is that Brock Purdy has won an award, a big one. The Quarterback Club has named him the Pro Quarterback of the Year. Obviously, Brock Purdy is deserving. He's also deserving of the MVP award. So is Christian McCaffrey. That's why they're both finalists. But as far as QB play goes, the way that Purdy played the position this season was better than any other quarterback in football. The efficiency doesn't lie. He's number one by a mile. The accuracy doesn't lie. He was amongst the top three quarterbacks in advanced accuracy measurement. Best deep passing accuracy on PFF's record. Most deep passing yards in the entire league this year. Best facilitation of yards after the catch. Yak, that is a quarterback stat. Brock Purdy did it all, including with his legs. We saw that throughout the season. Those of us who were actually watching the tape saw that over the course of the season. The people who weren't watching the tape or didn't know what they were looking for might have just noticed it in the NFC Championship game. But Brock Purdy, elite quarterback, elite award. He is the QB Club's Pro Quarterback of the Year. The NFLPA, which is the players' union, at their press conference just blasted the quality of field that the 49ers are playing at practicing at UNLV. The executive director, Lloyd Howell, said, quote, "It really isn't up to snuff for what our players deserve." Obviously, Roger Goodell said the opposite the other day in his press conference. He said that experts unanimously agreed that this field is playable, but maybe that is an opposite. Maybe this is the discrepancy that the 49ers obviously disagree with the NFL and Roger Goodell. Workable is not the playable, or workable is not the same as quality. And obviously, the Kansas City Chiefs are getting to practice on a quality field at the Raiders facility. The NFL installed the sod on top of UNLV's artificial turf late. They installed it last week, and it hasn't really had a chance to firm up. So this field that the 49ers are practicing on is really soft. And although it might pass some of the tests, the firmness tests that they like to give these fields, it's barely passing them, and it's rated about the same as MetLife Field in New York. And when the league told the 49ers that, well, I mean, obviously the 49ers, sensitive about this issue, rightfully so, freaked out because MetLife Field is not a good field. MetLife Field is where Nick Bosa and Solomon Thomas tore their ACLs and a bunch of players got hurt in the 2020 season. It's also where Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles to begin this 2023 season. So obviously that's something that the 49ers aren't happy about. We talked about the whole process, though, over the course of this week, and there haven't been many other good options for the 49ers. Even if you talk about a high school field like Bishop Gorman in this area, that's artificial turf. And the 49ers want to practice on actual natural grass because that's safer, and that's also the same type of surface that is going to be at the game in Super Bowl 58. So the NFL, this happens every year. The NFL will give first pick of practice facility to the designated home team. That year, it's the AFC's Kansas City Chiefs. They picked the Raiders facility, and the 49ers have second pick. That was UNLV. I think the big mistake here is that the sod didn't get rolled in until last week. Probably is something that should have been done a long time ago, maybe in December. So it ends up being a bad situation for the 49ers, but the only path forward for them is to use this as motivation, right? They could be very upset behind closed doors, and I could tell you what, they are very upset behind closed doors, but they have taken an organizational tactic and an organizational approach here to just use this as motivation, get through this practice week. And it is still possible that they practice out at the Raiders facility tomorrow for their most intense practice of the week, the high-speed practice, if they don't deem the sod at UNLV to be safe and playable to their standards. So that would require the 49ers to work around the Chiefs' schedule. I think it's still TBD. I'm going to go check in on the status of that when I'm out at the team hotel here in a couple hours, but they're just going to take this day by day. And the best case scenario for the 49ers is to use this purely as motivation. You can't let it turn into a distraction that negatively affects your play. It has to be something that you motivate. Everybody agrees, I think, on the outside the NFL, that the NFL did not handle this properly. The sod was not installed in time. it hadn't been given the chance to firm up. A 49ers player the other night told me there's a lot of sand. It's very sandy and squishy and soft, and it's getting better every day. But if it gets, whether or not it gets better in time for Thursday's practice, which is the most intense of the week, still remains to be seen. So 49ers aren't happy about it, but it's a bad card that they've been dealt, but they have to play the card, and we'll see if they're able to either practice elsewhere tomorrow or if they'll determine that the field is firmed up enough. Either way, they need to use it purely as motivation for Sunday because they can't go down the rabbit hole of any other distractions. And I think that's why you've seen leadership speak the way they have of this, that they say, hey, we just have to deal with what's there. They could be as mad as they want behind closed doors, but they need to broadcast the right message of motivation to this football team ahead of Super Bowl 58. Moving forward, this is from Kay Adams' show. This is Jed York, 49ers CEO, joining Kay Adams. Have a listen to what Jed York said about the halftime scene in the 49ers locker room of the NFC Championship game.
With us, congratulations.
Thank you, Kay.
Are you here to yell at me about having Deebo on my show every week to talk honestly about what's going on and give me great sound bites?
I love Deebo. He's awesome. He's very raw. He is very, very to the point. I mean, I don't know if you know, but Lynch went down to the locker room at halftime, and tense halftime, right? You're down by 17 points, and he said Deebo was just sitting there, just shaking. He's like, just tell Kyle to get me the damn ball. And I mean, that's who Deebo is. Like he's just ready to take over a game at any point, and I'm very, very glad that he is on our football squad.
Wow, and after the game, you could see there was this like uncorking of emotion out of him that I've really never seen.
Yeah.
And there's a lot pent up from Miami.
Yes.
At Super Bowl 54. Now, you've been.
That is 49ers CEO Jed York on the Kay Adams show. This is some of the content from today. I'm going to reopen this in a second. There's a quick peek at Radio Row. I was on the set there, Pat McAfee. You could see what it looks like in person. And Kendrick Bourne, former 49ers receiver, had a Kendrick Bourne spotting. Obviously, I also wrote my Christian McCaffrey article. Let me take a look at that in a second. But first, Deebo Samuel, absolute competitor. I think it's a joke, the fact that some people are saying that this guy was trying not to play after he got hurt against the Packers and all this and all that. He runs harder than any other player in the NFL. I hope people realize that. And maybe you need to go to a game in person. If you're just watching I think you could tell on TV, but maybe if you go to a game in person, you might be able to better tell just how violently Deebo Samuel runs. And he is one of the engines of this 49ers offense. I mean, I still remember him sobbing after the NFC Championship game loss to the Rams because he had essentially willed the 49ers to that point without any rest in that season. They didn't have the bye week. And, he had some big touches in the NFC Championship game. So that look from Jed York into Deebo Samuel in the locker room at halftime, wanting that football to make a difference in the second half, I think that is another illustration of part of the mentality and some part of the physicality too, the mentality of physicality of this 49ers football team. All right, so now we move to this. This is my article today up on The Athletic. That's a picture of Christian McCaffrey when he was 2.5 years old, when his dad, Ed McCaffrey, won the final of his 3 Super Bowls in Miami. That's also where the 49ers won their most recent Super Bowl in Miami. And Ed McCaffrey, Christian's dad, that was his first of 3 Super Bowl wins. Ed McCaffrey was on that team. Christian McCaffrey and Ed McCaffrey had to have a chance to become just a second father-son duo to win a Super Bowl playing for the same franchise after Zach and Steve DeOssie of the New York Giants. Ed McCaffrey to Christian McCaffrey. So I'm here in Vegas. I sat down with Christian McCaffrey's mom, Lisa McCaffrey, for coffee. And I also saw Ed McCaffrey here. And we worked on this story because this picture of young Christian McCaffrey at 2.5 years old, he was walking at 7 months and he was running shortly thereafter. And he played tackle football on the Super Bowl field with confetti on it, wearing his dad's oversized jersey. He was playing tackle football with his older brother and a lot of friends, a lot of other players' kids. Christian McCaffrey was a prodigy at that age. The backstory here, I guarantee you, is awesome. If you want to know about 49ers history, 49ers culture, what makes this team tick, read this story. It's up on my Twitter. Maybe we'll toss it in the description, Mike, if you can do that. Please do. This will give you an idea of what this means. And I'll tell you what, I open up the story by saying Lisa McCaffrey is nervous as Super Bowl 58 approaches on Sunday. I'm trying to stay calm, she said over coffee Monday in a hotel lobby on the Strip. I'm trying to stay busy. I'm trying not to think about it until opening kickoff. I got my boots on the ground here in Vegas. I'm meeting up with players' families. I'm meeting up players, all this. I'm trying to bring you guys the vibe ahead of this 49ers Super Bowl. And I'll tell you what, there are nerves. There is excitement. People are starting to come into town, and it is fun stuff here in Las Vegas. So just a quick look at my feed of all that's happened today. I saw Steve Young and Dan Marino at Radio Row. We could look at, there's the Christian McCaffrey story. There's Kendrick Bourne on Radio Row. And then here's a look onto the Pat McAfee show set. This is what it looks like. Poor Ty Schmidt. Dana White's on the set there, but you see, you can't. There's Ty Schmidt. He's behind the TV. He had to wear a Las Vegas Golden Knights uniform and pads and skates throughout the whole thing, throughout the entire episode. Poor Ty was hot because it was not cool in there. I'll tell you that it's a little warm in Radio Row right now. Anyway, that's your 49ers update. Brock Purdy is the QB Club's Pro QB of the Year. You got a glimpse into what that 49ers locker room might have been like during the NFC Championship game. And I right now am going to be off to the 49ers facility. If you have any questions you want me to ask, go ahead and comment them. The facility is the hotel, by the way. It's way off of the Strip. It's quite a drive. We have a bus take us all the way out there. Then we'll come back, and it's starting to heat up here in Vegas. I know that a lot of players' families are showing up now today, Wednesday, Thursday. There's going to be a boxing match at the Mandalay Bay. They have a live golf tournament happening this week. The Super Bowl kickoff party for the media was last night. So it is real. We are in Vegas. 49ers have been growing as favorites. I think it's 2.5 points now. And I'll have a lot more content for you over the course of this afternoon and evening. So we'll talk to you soon. I'm off to see and talk to the 49ers.